And then we will share live on Facebook. The sharing live on Facebook always takes like 5 minutes, like forever. The longest 5 minutes.
Yes, it takes a minute.
It takes a minute. You want to say hi to our guests while I'm doing this, Erin Ashley?
Yes. Hi, everyone. I'm Reverend Erin Ashley Carty. I'm pairing up with Christina Caudill of Radiant Astrology today. She's currently getting this, if you're just joining us, she's currently getting this shared on Facebook so everyone can join. And I'm so happy that you're here and that you're exploring what it means to go pro with your spiritual gifts. And Christina's giving me a look. Does that mean that it's on Facebook now?
Almost, I think.
Almost, all right. So the reason that I wanted to do this with you and why I wanted to do it now, while we're just getting this set up, is because the world is asking for healers. And I'm going to talk more in depth about this. And healing can come in all forms. Astrology readings can be healing. All forms of the spiritual arts are healing in some way. And the world is asking for a lot of healing. And I've been doing this for a while now. I've been a professional for 8 years now. And so more and more people have been coming to me asking how to do this professionally. And so I really wanted to organize something in a fun way, in a more interactive way, so we could really do a deep dive. Great. So Christina.
Okay, so yay! Thank you so much for that little introduction while we get set up. It looks like we're on live on Facebook, so welcome everyone if you're joining us there. I'm Christina Caudill with Radiant Astrology, and I'm super excited to introduce this series on the full moon in Virgo. Virgo full moon. Moon in Virgo, making things real. The sun in Pisces, connecting with your dreams. So making your dreams real. That is what this full moon is calling us to do. And I thought, what a better opportunity to invite one of my dearest friends who has amazing spiritual gifts, who is an amazing entrepreneur and has the most beautiful pink golden hair that you'll ever see. Erin Ashley Carty. Erin, you want to say hi to everyone?
Hi, everyone. I'm Reverend Erin Ashley Carty. Thank you for that wonderful introduction, Christina. Yeah, so I'm so excited that you're here. And like, Christina mentioned, there's a lot of energy going on right now that makes us want to go after our dreams. There's a lot of energy. I've been seeing it in my inbox. I've been seeing it on Facebook. It seems like everyone's feeling this. Let's get going. Let's do it. Let's follow our dreams.
2019 is the year too. It feels like we made it, right? We survived so far.
Yeah, we survived and we are ready to thrive.
Oh yeah. Woohoo!
Yeah.
And let me just say a little introduction on this series. We're going to be airing a Facebook Live series every day this week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, with a masterclass on Friday. And the theme is Go Pro with Your Spiritual Gifts, featuring the Reverend Erin Ashley Carty. And in the end, you'll be able to win an amazing giveaway. We'll have more information on that. But this is a free series, and you'll want to sign up for the emails because you'll get the reminders, you'll get the recordings if you can't make it live, and you'll also get our PDF where you can follow along with the series. You can do a deeper dive with our reflection questions that Erin Ashley Carty has come up with you to sort of really embody the work that she's bringing for this series. So with that, I wanted Erin Ashley to take it away. You might want to start to introduce yourself with maybe a little story about how you made it on this path as a spiritual entrepreneur, as a successful teacher and healer for people who want to access their psychic gifts.
Yes, and let me real quick, I just realized that one of my notifications is on and it's supposed to be off. Okay, there we go. So first, my story, technical glitches on the first day. So my story it starts whenever I was 19. So it was when I was really young. And I had my very first vision when I was 19. And I had failed out of college 3 times in a row, 3 semesters in a row. And I had done very well in high school. In high school, I had a very high GPA, type A personality. I was in all the clubs. And so it was really confusing to me about why it was happening. And I was in this place of deep despair, but just conviction that I was going to try to figure this out. And one night I had a dream, a vision of me in the hospital, in a hospital gown. And I had a sense of peace whenever I saw it. It was the most bizarre thing because especially at the time, I didn't connect hospitals with a sense of peace. That's not what I associate with them at all. And so at that point, I woke up with a start and I knew I had had a psychic vision. I just knew in my bones that I'd had a psychic vision and that I was going to be in the hospital, but that I was going to be okay. I knew it was going to be serious and I knew I was going to be okay. And then 2 months later, I had gotten evicted from my apartment. I was in this awful scenario where I was feeling so ashamed, like I was this huge failure at 19. I'd failed out of college, I got evicted. And sure enough, I started to get really, really sick and I had to go to the hospital. And they diagnosed me with a very rare condition that the doctor told me if I had not been diagnosed, when I'd been diagnosed, within 24 hours, it would have killed me. I was that close to death. And thankfully, he waited until I was stable to tell me that. But he was very clear on the fact that I was basically on death's door. It turns out this undiagnosed condition was what had caused me to fail out. I didn't have energy. I didn't know what to do. I'd gone to the doctor, but they couldn't find anything. It's very rare, hard to diagnose. And so at that point, I just chalked it up to a one-time thing. You know, like, okay, I had a vision. It saved my life. I'm just going to go and pretend like it didn't happen. I didn't know what to do with it. I was a kid at the time. And then 7 years later, I was engaged and I knew that I wanted to do something with spirituality. I felt like I had some type of intuitive abilities, but I really felt unqualified. It didn't come through the way it appeared to go through other people. Like I had that one vision, but then I just get kind of feelings or I kind of know things, but it wasn't consistent and I didn't know how to develop it. And so at that point, I was like, yeah, I don't think that I'm psychic. I don't think that I can do this work, but I might as well explore it. And then my now ex left me for another woman. And so he left me for another woman. I had no idea it was coming, even though I was working on my spiritual development and my intuition. And I was actually scheduled to do a training on how to use my psychic gifts as a profession in a more professional manner the next month. And I just got very clear that I wanted a love relationship and that tragedy or potential tragedy was an opportunity for me to heal and declare what I want. And I started realizing all the ways that I had denied myself what I truly wanted in my own life, because I thought that if I owned it, that people would leave me, that they would reject me, that I would be abandoned by my family and friends. And here, you know, he left anyway, even though I wasn't yet pursuing it fully. So I just decided from then on, people were going to love me and accept me for who I was, or they didn't love and accept me. And it took some really serious healing. I did a lot of really deep forgiveness work. And then within 30 days, I actually met my current husband, who is just in the other room right now. And we've been married for 7 years. We've been together for 8 years. And we actually started dating the same day that I started my professional training. And it was just like everything came together when I decided that this path was right for me and that I was willing to do the work, that I was willing to fully be myself and step into my calling and choose my calling back. And so that's what I want you to think about today as we explore this. For me, my reason for stepping in the calling is I felt called. But there's something interesting that happens whenever we are called to do something. We have choice and we have free will. And it's perfectly acceptable to feel a calling and ask for a different path and ask for more clarity. You can ask for that refined vision for your future. It's perfectly okay for you to choose the path back and decide it's not for you. And I mention that right now because if you decide to choose this path, I want you to do so with that certainty and conviction in your heart that you are choosing it 100%. that it's not just because you feel like there's authority that's telling you that you should do this, that it's because you got the call and you decided, yes, this is absolutely for me. Yes, this is what I want to do. Yes, it's important for me to step into this because it's going to allow me to be the person that I know I am in a way that heals others, that invites healing for myself, and that touches so many lives. And so, do you have anything to add on that, Christina?
Yeah, actually, so much came up for me around that. That's amazing that you said that you were like 19, and even though we think, oh, that's a child, you know, when you get into this work and you hear all these stories of, I was psychic ever since I was 2 years old. There were, you know, ghosts coming to my bedroom window, and you know, I'm like that. I know for me, when I started opening up to I'm clairvoyant to a certain extent. When I started opening up to those gifts, then I kind of thought, this can't be me, because I'm like 40 years old, and you know, for the first time it's like come to me, until you realize that actually we all have the potential to have these gifts, whether it's by sight or whether it's a knowing or whatever your gifts are that are on the spiritual realm. But it really just takes, like you said, saying yes to them, and then from there honing them and taking them seriously as a gift that you have a responsibility to. That's how I think of it.
Yes, and I agree. And I think that whenever that commitment is made, you know, true heart commitment, not just, oh, I feel like I should because, you know, I feel a call, so I should definitely do this. That's kind of half-hearted. And I see people sometimes just feel like they should because they feel a calling. But when we decide to choose the path as strongly as it's choosing us, you know, and to show up for it as strongly as it's showing up for us, and be willing to do the internal and external work that might be involved. We don't have to bring in extra struggle, right? We don't have to bring in, you know, it has to be hard. It can be easy. Sometimes it is easy. It's wonderful when it's easy. But if it happens to be hard in a day or a moment, we can choose to show up fully for those moments as well.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
And so from then honing your gifts and knowing that you were psychic, or you had some intuitive abilities, and then you became a teacher for that. I want our audience to know that we found each other actually through a sort of professional network of woo-woos, if you want to call it that. You know, I'm an astrologer, you're a professional psychic, and you teach, and you have a very successful business that you've been running for, what is it, 8 years now?
8 years now. 8 years. Yeah.
You want to tell them a little bit about the Spiritual Mechanic?
Yeah. Okay. So I'm the founder of Spiritual Mechanic. That's my business, spiritualmechanic.com. And so a little bit about running this business. I've been teaching other professionals. Basically, the second I started doing this professionally, I had people requesting to teach them how to tune in on behalf of other people. It was really within a month or two. And that was, you know, the universe orchestrated that. I didn't even know what marketing was at that point. You know, like I was baby into business at that point. But from there, and that was in 2011 and 2012. And then what happened is in 2015 or 14, I forget exactly which year. But that's when I actually started the Pro Psychic Mechanics online course. And that's where I got a group of people together and taught them together how to tune into their spiritual gifts. And everyone's spiritual gift is different, right? So not everyone showed up with the same spiritual gifts. I have astrologers who've gone through there, and I'm not an astrologer. I don't teach astrology. I barely know anything other than my sun sign. And I love Christina. She's a fantastic astrologer. She's been so helpful. And so the astrologers come through and they know how to build the business aspects, right? Because they understand their own gifts. My gift is helping people understand how their gifts work. That's what I do. And I've been doing that since 2015 with this particular course. And it basically, what I do is I help people understand their gifts, understand how to do an appropriate practice session. So once you understand your gifts and you're getting information, even if you feel like it's not very clear, then that's the point where you start doing practice sessions, which we'll talk about in much more depth in a previous session. And then I help them understand how to get clients from those sessions, how to get testimonials and clients, etc. So it's a very clear step-by-step process that honors our intuitive, sensitive natures and the spiritual nature of this work. So there's no such thing as a deadline, because the pace that you might go is going to be different than what someone else does. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And we don't want to turn it into a heavily scheduled thing where all of a sudden you feel behind because you didn't complete week 2 or whatever. So it's very much about honoring the intuitive nature of the work, the spiritual nature of the work, and honoring the spiritual calling over any type of schedule, including what we think the schedule is going to be. Mm-hmm. Especially then. Yeah. Does that help, Christina?
Yeah. And so I just wanted to let people know that I've known you. We've been friends for a few years now. Yeah. And I've just seen your business and your gifts just keep growing exponentially like every year. It's amazing. Yes. And so I thought you'd be the perfect person to share with us because so many people are awakening now. And then it's like, when I'm, when you can just awaken and just be awakened, and that actually in and of itself is shifting humanity. And then there's those of us who have awakened and we feel called to either share that with clients or start teaching. And, this realm of turning things into a business, that can be overwhelming at times, and it can be scary. And so I know I've seen you take so many people through that process, and it all begins with really saying yes to that gift. Like I know today's topic was, why are we all being called now? I think that's like kind of the question is, so what is happening now? I have my own answers, but I want to hear from you.
Yes. So there's a lot happening, right? First off, our world is more connected than it's ever been, and it's also fostering a feeling of disconnection simultaneously. So we have all of this technology, and it's wonderful. Like the fact that I get to be here in my home office and I'm able to talk to you and you're able to hear what I'm saying is such a miraculous and wonderful thing. And at the same time, so many of us are basically putting technology connection over connection that is more heart-centered. And it's not that we can't use technology in order to create heart-centered connection. Again, that's my intention with this today. It's that sometimes we're misusing technology and using it as an escape rather than as true heart-centered connection. And one of the reasons that we're doing that is because it's so hard for us to get present with ourselves in the present moment. And so a lot of us are being called right now into this work because anytime there's that imbalance, the solution energetically arises, right? We have that naturally. It's there in the energy. The solution is always present, always here, always now. Now, our ability to access or implement it might shift from moment to moment or day to day. But right now, the world is asking for us to step into our calling, and the energies are aligned with that because on top of the technology, that dichotomy of having more connection than we've ever had and a more intense sense of loneliness, the world is at a decision point right now. And we've got a really short amount of time as far as human years are concerned, about a decade or two, to make a lot of decisions about how we as a species, as a collective consciousness, choose to show up in the world. And in order for the amount of shifts to happen that will need to happen in order for us to choose a loving and peaceful future, we need a lot of healing as a group, as a whole. We need a lot of direction. We need that connection to spirit and source so that we can choose something that is aligned with our highest goods, with the next generation's highest goods, and with 7 to 10 to 15 generations down the line's highest good as well. And that's what this work is all about. Anytime you honor your spiritual craft, regardless of whether you think of it as energy healing or not, there's always a healing that takes place. If you do an astrology reading, you're giving someone insight, and there is a healing that happens. If you do a psychic reading, it's the same thing. If you do Reiki, it's the same thing. That's an energy healing modality that allows you to heal someone at the energetic level. And every step of the way, when you honor your spiritual gifts, and especially the calling to go pro, it gives you the opportunity to heal yourself and heal the world more deeply. And every time any of us chooses healing, chooses to honor our spiritual gifts, regardless of whether you go pro or not, we are adding to the collective healing energy, regardless of whether that's our intent or not. That's the beauty of this work, is it's so interconnected. And so all of us who feel that call to go pro, it's because this is a situation where we need all hands on deck. You know, this is a situation where we have a very stark choice between fear and hate and love and peace and joy. And the choosing love and peace and joy doesn't mean that we ignore healthy emoting, or we ignore healthy boundaries, or that we never hold people accountable if they do something harmful. It means that we choose to do those things with a sense of love, with a sense of compassion, and with a sense of peace. And choosing a spiritual path, allowing yourself to honor your path if you are called to go pro, will give you the ability to see the effects of that and to dedicate your life to it, especially if you allow yourself to be paid appropriately, in a way that expands the healing, that expands the good that you can do. Christina, do you have anything to add?
It just makes me think of, you know, for those astrologers watching, Saturn and Capricorn is really calling on us to create, you know, what we have always said we wanted to do or be, and actually be it, get real. It's ultimately about getting real in the world, and now is the time for that. And, you know, Saturn and Capricorn is about business, creating structure and foundations and boundaries. And because there's all this collective evolution happening, you know, our ideas and concepts and paradigm of livelihood and business and things like that also has to evolve. So, you know, we've been in this space for a number of years now, so it's less weird to us. But I do remember hearing one of my favorite astrologers, who's been doing this. I mean, I think she's in her late 40s now, and she's been a professional astrologer since she was like 20. And she was asked, well, how did that happen? You know, how did you get started so quickly? And she said, the hurdles she overcame that most people don't overcome early is just not thinking it was weird to charge money for an astrology reading. You know, and a lot of people go through years, I did go through years thinking, I really shouldn't be charging for this. You know, I'll just let them pay me what they want, or I'll just, you know, do $20 or whatever. And that just wasn't sustainable for me. And I think that's the one piece, is the thinking that, like, I shouldn't be charging for this, or there's something wrong with this. But I think we know now the difference between, you know, paying for something that's valuable, that actually adds value to my life, versus, you know, being greedy and trying to, like, you know, swindle people and make money from them. You know, I mean, both of those things do exist in the world. But if we are aligned and committed with, I'm doing work that's not only important to me, but important for others, and I should charge appropriately for that, then that is a small thing, but it can be a huge hurdle that you can come over, and then that can make all the difference, especially in the beginning.
Yes. I so appreciate that you brought that up. I'm going to share a story, and I'll share this story again in more detail tomorrow. When I first started, I was terrified of charging. I never had more than minimum wage jobs. And so, or just barely above minimum wage jobs. And I'd never held down a normal 9-to-5, just because I'd been in college the entire time. And then I had that health condition that happened. And so when I got started, I could not figure out how to charge. And I felt a deep sense of confusion and a deep sense of shame about charging. And so the only way I could get momentum, finally, after a couple months, I just forced myself to charge anything I could. And all I could charge for a reading was $5. That's the max that I could actually give myself permission for a half an hour to an hour reading. And that's because I know in hindsight, I can't
look at my face. I was like,
yeah, but it's one of those things where we have so much societal teachings about what it means to charge money. And a lot of us have internalized that. And then you add the component of spirituality. Well, okay, this gift is free, so shouldn't I be giving it away for free? And the answer is not necessarily. there are some people who are called to do it. You know, they have a financial setup where they can do their work for free, and they feel called to do so, and that's fine. I'm not going to sit here and say they shouldn't do that. But for a lot of us who feel called to do this work, we also need to make money so we can eat, right? Like, food is good daily. Paying for housing is a wise thing to do. And so as professionals, it's wise to kind of piece apart a little bit our sense of internal worth with the fact that we require money to live, right? So we don't have to create this sense that the amount that we charge is a reflection of how much we are worth. Because that frees us up to work on those issues a little bit separately. You can work on your self-worth, definitely do that. That's required for this work, absolutely. But then you can actually look and take a heart-centered and an objective view to run the numbers and find out exactly what you do need to charge in order to make a living at this that is comfortable and secure and safe. And we're going to talk about that in detail tomorrow.
Okay, great. Yeah, tomorrow I'm going to just announce the title of the live tomorrow is Half Booked, Fully Paid. And that is something I live my life by because I don't want to be overbooked. I don't want to have to, you know, see readings the minute I wake up and then the minute I go to bed. I want to be comfortably booked and fully paid. And so Erin Ashley is going to share with us her method for that tomorrow.
Yes. Go ahead.
Okay, well, just, and I was just going to say that, you know, it comes back to really taking on the fact that if you're listening to this, you likely have some kind of a calling. And it takes that, you know, really aligning with your why. Why are you doing this? And how committed are you to saying yes to it?
Yes, I'd highly recommend for you today to go through the play sheet. It's got the reflection questions in it, and it's going to ask you some questions about why you feel called to do this. Take the time to do that reflection.
Do you want to maybe lead them through that? You think that?
Yes, let me pull it up
in front of me. Okay.
You have it in front of you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let me get it in front of me. You want to lead them through?
You know, I wonder, let me see if I can share them on my screen. So just want to remind everyone, you can download, when you register for the series, you will be able to download the PDF. It's an awesome PDF. The GoPro with your spiritual gifts, play sheet. Day 1, why the world needs your gifts now. And Erin Ashley, you want to sort of guide them through that?
Yes, I do. Okay, so what I'd like for you to do is I'd like for you to really connect with your heart center. If you feel any insecurity at all with that question, which is really common, go ahead and just place your hands over your heart. And then just think to yourself and trust the answer that flows through. You can always change your mind later. This is not a lifetime commitment right now. You're exploring. And what gifts do you feel called to bring to the world? Go ahead and fill that out and write it out. And I'm going to give you just another minute to do that. And remember, you can revisit this and put more detail in. I highly recommend that. And now go ahead and go to the next question. While you're continuing to feel into your heart center, why is it important for you right now to bring those gifts into the world? Go with the personal answer. Go with that tug of emotion that's on your heart. That's the one that's going to lead you to your highest good, health, wealth, and happiness, and the most healing for all. Okay, and give it just another minute. And check into your heart again. What healing do you hope to offer the world or individuals, allowed to filter through however it does, by using your gifts? What changes do you hope to see? Okay. And allow this to take a personal turn. When you feel into this opportunity, what's the best possible outcome, both for you personally and for the world as a whole? And allow yourself to welcome the sense that this is possible for you. And that if you have the seed of desire, you also have the ability to make it happen. That you also have what it takes, all of the information, all of the connection. You have enough spiritual gifts to do this. And even if you don't know all the pieces, that through your ability to show up and with the cooperation of the universe, you'll be able to make this a reality and welcome this reality into your experience. And give yourself that blessing. Allow yourself to feel it. Good. And allow yourself to come back to normal, more external focus whenever you're ready.
I did want to share one thing that came up for me, seeing that last question is what is the best possible outcome? And that makes me think of something I had heard that Dr. Joe Dispenza was asked. And, you know, he's an amazing healer. He does, I forget what it's called, but it's kind of basically mind over matter healing. Yeah. And he said that our mind tends to go to the worst possible outcome all the time. That's usually where we're operating from. And so it takes a real shift to constantly shift to what is the best possible outcome. And when we shift to that, and we continually focus on that, that is what creates more possibility in our lives. And so it's so important to be thinking about what is the best possible outcome, because as soon as you start inviting that in, it'll start showing up for you more.
Yes, yes, beautiful and absolutely true. As soon as we start inviting it, we'll get breadcrumbs, little breadcrumbs every day. And we can honor those breadcrumbs, just one at a time. Baby steps will get you there.
That's beautiful. Well, thank you so much, Reverend Erin Ashley Kearty, for today's little lesson on going pro with your spiritual gifts. I hope everyone takes a moment to really reflect on those questions as we continue through this series. Remember, you can get your PDF by registering free at bit.ly/GoProSpirit, and I'll have the link in the comments on this video. And tomorrow, as we gave a little preview before, we will be talking about one of my favorite topics that Erin Ashley introduced me to, is half booked, fully paid. Do you want to give them a little snippet on that, Erin Ashley?
Yes, I do. So basically, we're going to talk about charging. We're going to talk about some of the mindset shifts that I recommend you make so that you can actually own what you need to own energetically and spiritually and personally so that you can charge an appropriate amount. Then we're going to talk in a non-scary way, I promise, about the math, how to figure out how to find the right number to start with. And by the way, there is going to be a calculator that I'm going to share. So you do not have to be good at math. You don't have to know algebra. You don't have to know anything. And so I want to make sure that you know that it's going to be there. We will have that calculator available to you and you can use it. And it also is going to allow you to play a little bit, so you can kind of see what the options are and dive into it. And I'm going to share some of the common mistakes that I see people make. And I will share my mistakes with you so that you can do something better. It does not have to take you 4 years. It took me 4 years to charge an appropriate amount. You don't have to wait that long. You can do it on day one. My clients do it. The people who I work with professionally, one-on-one and in groups, they do it on day one. Okay.
Oh, and I just wanted to acknowledge some of the comments that are coming in our Zoom room. Danielle says, thank you, ladies, for this. DT says, thank you so much for holding this space. I can't wait for tomorrow. And Veronica says, thank you, ladies. Feeling very supported. And I think that's one of Aaron Ashley's greatest gifts, is helping people feel supported and find their confidence. And that's so important in the work that we do.
Yes, thank you. And confidence as sensitive people, we're probably going to talk about that during masterclass. I'm sure it'll come up before that as well. But there's some special things that we as energetically sensitive beings and spiritual beings that we can do that just skyrockets our confidence and allows our body to experience confidence, especially when we're doing things that are challenging, that we've never done before, that hit on our insecurities. I'm going to make a note because I do want to touch on that. And I don't think I have it in the current lineup.
Okay, that would be great for the masterclass on Friday. So just a reminder, everyone, join us on Radiant Astrology on Facebook, or sign up to join the Zoom room at the link. And we'll be here live at 11 a.m. Pacific time, 2 p.m. Eastern time every day this week for about like a 30 to 45 minute little snippet lessons so that you can get something out of every single day. And then we'll have the master class on Friday, where we'll be doing a special ceremony to call in the souls for your clients and your programs. It's something I do before every program, and Aaron Ashley as well. We've had a lot of great results from it. And it's also really helping to sharpen our connection to spirit and our trust in the universe. So this is going to be a magical week, and I hope you'll continue to join us. So we will see you tomorrow. Aaron Ashley, any final words?
Yes, my final words. Oh, I've just lost them. Come back, please. Okay. Thank you so much for showing up here today, and especially for bringing that presence of spirit and being present with what is true for you, why you feel called right now. I know we talked about some of the external reasons, but today, really thank you for exploring those internal reasons, why you feel called personally, and why you are choosing this path. And if you're unsure, just explore your truth. It's safe to do that, and honor yourself.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Aaron Ashley. And thank you, everyone. We will see you tomorrow on Radiant Astrology on Facebook. See you then. Bye.
Bye.